We've got some wild stories here today. Mostly they're just going to center around people's worst nightmares, okay? So just setting the stage for everyone. Florida mom files lawsuit against school district after child transitioned without her consent. Isn't that like, that's got to be right up there. I don't have any children or anything like that, and I'm not going to say that hack line, but I'd imagine that's probably right close to the top of people in power enforcing said will against your children without your authority, making just life-altering decisions without you having a say in it. I think that's got to be a pretty high concern. Sounding an alarm to parents across the United States, a Florida mother has filed a lawsuit against Leon County School District after her transgender child transitioned at school without her consent. January, Littlejohn. Oh, that kid was just... Oh no, that's the lady and her name's January? Oh god, her parents sucked even back in the day. A stay-at-home mother of 3 and mental health professional. Okay. Appeared on television morning show on May 2nd along with her attorney Bernadette Broyles and discussed the lawsuit and why she feels her parental rights were violated by an unnamed school and why parents all over the country need to take note. This is happening all over the nation, Littlejohn warned other parents. Her cousin February Tiny Tim couldn't be reached for comment. The same protocol is in place in many schools across districts everywhere, and even the guides being used to dictate these transgender support plans that cut parents out even have the same language. This is a very systematic way of parents are being excluded from important decisions occurring with their children. Yeah, and this is also very important to shine a light on as well, because, yeah, it might not be as extreme as forcing your child to transition against your parental will, okay? It can be something a lot less consequential, okay? At least in the big scope of things, right? They could be indoctrinated and being taught awful ideas unquestioningly without your knowledge and your authorization, and then there's just a horde, another new generation of just brainwashed idiots just unleashed upon society. Oh wait, that's happening literally everywhere. Social transition is a medical intervention that schools are grossly unqualified to be taking these steps without parental involvement, she continued. Littlejohn said her daughter, who was 13 at the time of the incident, expressed confusion over her gender at the height of the pandemic after a few friends in her peer group had transitioned to the opposite sex. She suddenly started identifying as transgender, she said of her daughter. Unfortunately, this is becoming a common occurrence among teen girls especially. Yep, the desire for attention. It's pretty fucking strong. We're going to see that in third video of the day. She attended a press conference on March 28th alongside Governor Ron DeSantis and the crowd that she eventually found out that the school had formed a transgender support plan with her daughter without her knowledge or consent. When Littlejohn confronted the school, it declined to allow her involvement as a parent, given the child was protected by a non-discrimination law. Listen, your child's decision at 13 years old is protected against you, her parent, because we, the school district, know better than you. That's frightening. That's very fucking frightening. In other words, school officials asked my 13-year-old child her permission as to whether or not my parental rights would be honored. Great. This is like taking teenage rebellion to a whole new fucking level. After many weeks of going back and forth with the district, we learned the middle school had created a transgender, non-conforming support plan without a 13-year-old daughter, without our knowledge or consent. She said that eventually she did see the transgender support plan, a 6-page document. Oh, looks like it's well thought out as to fucking up the rest of a kid's life. That had been completed by school officials and her daughter behind closed doors. How wonderful. You know, always the best ideas are gestated, formulated, and discussed behind closed doors, behind the parental guardians, with the input of children. They asked her questions that would have absolutely impacted her safety and her physical, emotional well-being, such as which restroom she preferred to use and which sex she preferred to room with for overnight field trips. You're asking a 13-year-old these questions. There is not a wall that's long enough to contain all of the people that should be lined up in front of it. During the press conference, she said that the plan also directed school staff to use her daughter's birth name when speaking to the parents and to use a different name in schools with teacher, staff, and students. Purposefully training the kids, grooming the kids, if you will, to be living a bipolar life. Ooh. It sends a message to children that their parents' input and authority is no longer important. Yeah, you are a product of the state, and the school knows better than your parents. Littlejohn, told those attending the press conference that the incident has created a huge wedge between them as a mother and daughter. It sent the message that she needed to be protected from us. Question, where's the father in this entire situation? Because a lot of this could have been fucking figured out if there was a two-parent household. Just saying, this wouldn't have happened if there was a good father to be a disciplinarian in this situation. She said the social transition on top of the first step towards medical transition is what schools are grossly unqualified to, advise upon. Because I don't know if you've talked to the rank and file grade school teacher. They aren't exactly the bravest and brightest. Social transition is a medical and mental health intervention that can lead to significant decisions that will impact the child's mental and physical well-being, she said. Unfortunately, she said that what happens to her family is not an isolated incident. Yeah, we've talked about this at least on smaller scale in places like California, where they set up other transgender transitioning groups. Loudoun County, Virginia, before everything got figured out there. I'm sure it's probably happening in some form or fashion, but at least they're trying to crack down on it. And now this is happening in all places of Florida. Shouldn't have perked your head up, because based Florida man, Governor Ron, he's liable to fucking lop it off. Metaphorically speaking. Yet schools have systematically cutting parents out of critical decisions being made with their children, painting them as enemies to their children with no due process. Broyles said the lawsuit was filed at the end of December 2021, only to have the school district filed a motion to dismiss. We are waiting on a ruling from the judge. This is a national agenda, and parents need to recognize that they have the right to direct the upbringing, education, care, medical decisions, mental health decisions of a child, and they need to assert their right with this school. Yeah, and I can't believe that has to be reaffirmed, because that should just be so patently fucking obvious. For the safety of our children, these parental rights violations must stop, and school districts must be held accountable when they break the law, Broyle said. Littlejohn added, parents know and love their children more than anyone in this world. No, but if you're just trying to make a mob of ideologically possessed fucking rank-and-file soldiers, you don't want the parents' love and input involved in this. No, of course not. You're just making fucking products of the state that are just going to go through, and they're going to be taken care of, and they're just going to be little worker ants for society. You don't need any individualistic input, okay? You don't need the input of your family. Nope, the government has you looked after. Don't worry about anything else. Parents, yes, I've always told my children my number one job is to keep them safe, and the school took that away from me. Yeah, should have been paying closer attention. And again, where's the father in this situation? Where is he? Maybe he's not a fan of winter and he decided to fuck somebody with the first name June. Who really knows? But God, a really sad situation, honestly, all things considered, because that, like I said, I don't have any first-hand account to this, and I can't really, empathize, but I can sympathize with the situation. That just sounds horrific. And hopefully this gets exposed on a much larger scale. Hopefully there's nothing to expose at a larger scale, but you and I both know that that's totally not going to be the case. But hopefully a light is shown on this and get to the bottom of it one way or another. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.